pixelations, we can definitely use visibility. Hello friends, welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna show you how to make this BackStep ability. Well, let's get into it. So how is this BackStep ability gonna work? Well, when the player presses a key like E, we send a message to the server and then the server activates the ability. So let's set the stage, as I like to call it. We're gonna use a local script in starter pack, maybe name that skill keybind. This local script is gonna check for when a player presses the key we want them to, let's say E, and then it's gonna send a message through a remote event to our server, a script and script service, and then it's gonna activate the ability, like so. So let's start with the skill keybind. But before that, something that's really helpful while you're programming is FenMod. Now, FenMod is just a module that makes life so much easier as a programmer. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna get a couple things. First, I'm gonna get replicated storage, then I'm gonna get the remote event, and finally, FenMod. So now we check for when the player presses a key, and how do we do this? It's as simple as going FenMod.keybind bracket, and boom, we've literally done it. All we need to do is just fill in a couple parameters. The first parameter is the key. In one quotation, we can put whatever key we want, F, G, D, S, anything. For this video, I'm gonna use E. The second parameter is the cooldown, and whatever number you put here, like 0.1, 10, that's just gonna be the cooldown. If you put nil, it's just gonna be 0.01 seconds, which I'm gonna use for testing purposes. And finally, the last parameter is what we want to happen when we press the key. In this case, we just want to fire the remote. Boom, done. Now the remote to fire when E is pressed. If FenMod doesn't work for you, or you don't want to use FenMod, you can write this instead. Now let's check if the server received that a key was pressed. So I'm just gonna copy this to make it quicker, and then BackStep remote that on server event connect function player first parameter print activate. Now I'm struggling to spell activate ability, and test that. It's always good to test your code frequently so you figure out when there is a bug as soon as possible. So I'm gonna press E, activate ability, it works. And now it's time to get into the good stuff. The BackStep ability. Well, how this ability works? Well, there's 3 parts to this ability. The last part's a secret. Stay till the end if you want to see it. The first part is moving the player, right, in the direction while walking in. The second part is creating a perfect clone of our player, an after image. And the third part we'll find out later. So how do we do the first part? Well, first we need the character to move, so we can go local character. And we're also going to get the humanoid and the humanoid root part because they're important. After getting all the things we need, we're going to move the character. So we want to move the player in the direction they're walking in. How do we know what direction they're walking in? Well, luckily there's a thing called move direction for that exact purpose. So now we know what direction they're moving in. I'm also going to add a variable This is basically how far in studs we want our player to travel in. I call it travel distance. So to now move the player, we can go character, move to, which move to is just like dot position but for a model. And then we can go humanoid root path dot position plus move direction times travel distance. Now lucky for us, Roblox uses BedMass in its equations, so to be move direction times travel distance plus position, and the move direction just gives us like, I'll show you guys. Before we test if this works, I want to show you why this makes sense. So we have the player and the humanoid, and in the humanoid there's a variable, there's a property called move direction right here. It just gets the direction we're moving in. So now we're moving in this direction, and if we move perfectly in like the X direction by -1 stud, then it shows us that, but it shows whatever direction we're moving. And now let's test if it works. I know that was hard to tell. It basically looks like nothing happens, but it does work. We do get slightly closer, and we can test it. We get far, close, 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 and you can change the studs, of course, to like 20 if you feel like it, to make it more noticeable. Boom, the first part complete. Good job, guys. Time for the other part, the funner part. The after image. So I'm gonna put this above us teleporting, so the after image is in the position we were, not the position we are in. I hope that makes sense. For this after image, we want to create a perfect clone of our character, and as you can see, the player's character is made out of multiple parts. We got pants, shirts, body colors, we have like a sex accessories, and then we have our limbs down. So first, just gonna create a model to keep our perfect clones part in, and I'm gonna call this model something like our player.name after image. And we're gonna loop true every single part of this character and set its parent to our after image here. And like that, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for no, I'm kidding. There's still more, because if we were to test this right now, we'll notice a couple things. So I'm gonna press E and an error happens. I forgot to put that name, that's my bad. But that's not what I wanted to show you guys. If I were to play, press E, then we literally, our after image literally falls apart. Why is this? Well, first of all, everything is like unanchored. So let's go fix that. So for each body part, so if child is a base part, then we know after image part is a limb. You know, I'm just gonna like rename this body part after image. We just set encode to true. So now when we test, our clone should not fall apart. Wow. Oof. 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 The clone's kind of sturdy. Good job, guys. There's still a little bit more work to be done though. So our clone's after image, we noticed there's a couple things in here. Like there's so many stuff we don't need. There's like 20 attachments, 600 billion other attachments and stuff here and there. So we're gonna create a function. This function, as its name suggests, is just gonna clean whatever part that we put in it. So now how does it clean the part? It just destroys all its children. So for each child in pairs, pod con get children. Children destroyed. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, I forgot call the function. Let's call it before, just cause. Get the shower before we get to the main stuff. And clone. Now you notice there's so many glitches in so many places, but we'll get to that soon. Now let's check. As you can see, it's all clean and everything looks the same. Nice. Now, the first thing we notice is our head is non-existent. And the reason our head is non-existent is because in our head, there's something called a mesh. A special mesh to be exact. And this is the reason our head has that shape it does. If we were to destroy this, our head no longer looks so majestic, but is now a block. So we're just gonna go in the clean function and go if child the class name equals special mesh, then continue end. So if we come across a special mesh, we don't destroy it. Now let's test if it works. Look at that, our head has the same majestic shape it does, and our body parts are perfect. But another thing, it's an after image, right? So we don't want to be able to physically hit it. Then it's no longer an after image, it's just a clone, which is different, totally. So we can set body after image that can collide equals false. Then we see that nothing happens. And I'm gonna be honest, this problem baffled me for quite a long time. I have no clue why it doesn't work, probably some character stuff. But I noticed that if I waited as little as a mere 0.2 seconds and set it to false, it should work. And like that, it does work. And even an added bonus, we get this cool effect of like jumping off. So boom, our after image is now an after image. But what is that? Do we not have a face? Now if you like this and you think it's really cool, then leave it, but how do we keep the face? We want the face. Simple. So we're destroying everything that's a special mesh, right? Now we want to not destroy it if its name equals face. I know it's a fraction of code, but watch, it actually does work. So there are some things we don't want to destroy, like the face and special meshes. And as we can see, my after image now has a face. It's absolutely gorgeous. Let's move on to the accessories. They look perfect, but they're in the wrong position. How do we even position accessories in the first place? Well, there's something in them called a handle. It's essentially their part. And we can just position it with the position value there and move it around as we want. So if child is an accessory, then I'm just gonna rename this and get the handle we were talking about. So if the handle does indeed exist, first of all, we clean that handle. Second of all, we get our player's real handle. So this handle is the after image handle, and the real handle is our player's handle. Now, why do we do this? Just so we can set its position. So we can set the after image handle to the real handle position. And like that, it should work. Whoa, it's in the real position and everything. So it works. Beautiful. What is happening? Okay, it seems we came across an unexpected bug. Give me approximately 2 years to figure this out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I have no clue what the problem is, but I managed a way to prevent it. My guess is because for the first 0.2 seconds of, wait for this is gonna sound crazy, of our clone existing and us moving in one direction at the exact same time, it displaced us by just a little bit downwards. But if we were to give, wait for this, it's not crazy part, if we were to give our character enough time, they go back to normal position, right? Just like how it falls, kinda. But the reason why we were going down when we would spam was because we weren't given enough time for our character to get back to correct position, and so essentially the ability broke. So just make the cooldown anything higher than 0.2 seconds and we are Gucci. Yes. One thing I also did was figure out that the humanoid Rupa was completely useless, so just put this so we don't also clone the humanoid root pod. We can cancel this. That was actually 2 years later, but let's keep on going. Where were we? Oh yeah, we made a perfect clone of our player at the position we were. But as you can see, this clones, they just kind of stay there, they don't disappear. So are they after images or are they clones? So the next thing we want to do is just like as you saw in the showcase, make the clone, make the after image vanish. So we can create a variable called after image duration, which is basically how long our after image will last. You guys get it. Let's say 0.5 seconds. We just make the pot go transparent using tween. We're gonna be tweening a lot, like 3 times, so I'm just gonna create a function for this. Local function disappear pot. Yes guys, there is a function for this in fan mode, so we can go fan mode.tween. The first parameter is the part we want to tween, then the goal, which is just transparency equals 1, then how long we want to tween this for. So 0.5 seconds. I changed my mind. After image duration. So first we'll make the child disappear. And next we make the handle disappear. Do I do it before, after, you know? I'll do it before. Disappear. Handle. I wonder what is wrong. Oh, you see, we made the wrong thing disappear. We shouldn't make our body parts disappear, but the after image disappear. You know what? I feel like putting it right next to clean. Ooh, would you look at that? It works like a charm. But if I look around, holy moly, I see all these faces. Now, if you're not scared, I am. So, time to get rid of these faces. If child.name equals head, then local face equals to child. Find first child face. If face. Oh, we're looking for the wrong thing. We're looking for the after image face. Now, if face, then disappear face. Okay. I'm sorry if I moved very quickly. Those faces still scare me. So this is what I wrote. Let's see if it works. Completely gone. It's almost like it was an after image. Almost. So we should pretty much be done. But there's all these after images. We can't see these parts, but they still exist. Every single one of them. So we're just gonna destroy the part. So I'm just gonna set the function to the tween. And this is a bit careless right here. Just destroying it when the last tween or when whatever tween is done. So we just destroy the after image. Now I'm sure you guys can find finer, more neater ways to do this, but this is just how I'm gonna do it for this video. Okay, that didn't work, so I'm just gonna return the tween. Copy tween.completed. And then right here and disappear body image. I'm gonna go local tween equals to that. And then when the tween for the body image is completed, we just destroy the body. So I'm gonna spam it a few times. And voila, it gets destroyed instantly. This is actually looking real nice. And a cool effect when you jump. That's that. Now congratulations, we have officially completed this ability. But wait, a special bonus for just as a thank you for us taking time to learn and develop yourself. The third secret part, which is making the player invisible for some extra effect. Now I was watching a certain show, maybe which may not be called Record of Ragnarok, and there was this certain character which may or may not be called Buddha, and this is what this ability is after. And I noticed he disappeared for like a second after he used the ability, so that's why I added the disappear feature. So we can add disappear time. You know, I'm gonna make it sound fancier. Banish duration 0.3 seconds. So we're gonna create a function because we're gonna use this quite a little bit, called make invisible. Set the path transparency to 1, and after a certain amount of time, vanish duration, we set its transparency back to 0. Honestly, we should make this slightly better. Path the local path transparency equals path the transparency. So instead of setting it back to 0, we set it to what it was before. And like that. Done. Set it to 0, because if we spam the ability, it would not work. But if you're planning not to spam this ability, just put it to path transparency. time to make some parts invisible. The first part I want to make invisible is the child, which is just the limbs. The second part is the handle. And the third part, where are you, is the face. Well, first we want to check if face exists. So local real face equals to child. If real face, then make invisible real face. Let's test this. Now, it may be not that noticeable, but it does work and it looks quite nice. A little added effect that makes the ability just so much better. And if you want to make it more noticeable, we can set this to 1. Now, play around with this, like add many stuff, change stuff. Don't just follow my tutorial word for word, like change the color, change everything, and have some fun. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.